Hi, my name is Madison. I'm an SFX makeup artist and the intern for PNTA, and today I'm going to be doing a demo/tutorial on the look I currently have on my face using products mainly by Medley, Kryolan, and PPI. So first, to get started, we are going to mix up some Artex, and it's a 2-based mixture. So let's open these up. So try to avoid mixing them together while they are still in the containers, because that will lead to them hardening and not being able to use. So I'm just going to scoop out the A mixture and put it on the mixing plate. And you don't need much, but it's also depending on the look you're going for. So if you're going for a really fleshy look, then obviously you'll need more. If you're going for a simple look, you'll need less. So when mixing them together, try to make them proportional and scoop out as much as you did with the first mixture, with the second mixture. Sometimes it's a little hard to get them out. Okay. 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 And then just mix them up. Oh, wrong side. Okay. So after a little bit, it'll start getting tacky, and that's when you can apply it, but mix for maybe about 30 seconds before applying it, just to make sure that both components are mixed together and ready to use. Okay, that looks like the right consistency, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply it on my arm with a more sharper tool. So I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna scrape it up and apply it onto my arm. And kind of just already make that cutting motion so that way it dries into the texture and look that you'd like. If you want it fleshier, it's good to layer it up, just so it has that realistic effect. And it's good to smooth out the edges. And if it doesn't look the best, that's okay for now, because we can always fix it later. And you just really want to make that distinct cut, or whatever look you're going for, and really make that stick out. And the buildup on the sides is good, especially if you're going for a cut type of look, because it gives it a more realistic factor. After a while, when this mixture has been sitting here, it's kind of hard to use. As you can see, it's a little bit more tacky and less compatible, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it dries pretty quickly, so you have to use it pretty fast. I'm just gonna get out more here, using the same tool I used to mix from earlier. The mixtures are really tacky, so you have to do a good job of scraping them out and onto the plate. I'm gonna put that back down. Okay, now we're gonna mix again. Stick that down. Now it's fine if the mixture from before and the new mixture mix because it's the same product, so it's not really gonna have an impact. And you can definitely tell the difference from the previous mixture to the new mixture because it's a lot more manipulative and you can do a lot more with the new mixture. So taking the new mixture, I'm just gonna go in and grab a little bit more and make it a little bit fleshier onto the arm. This cut's gonna be a little bit bigger and wider than the one on my face. So that way I can demonstrate more over to paint better and just all that other stuff upcoming. I'm gonna push this extra off to the side so it gives it that fleshy look. And it's okay to have residue because you can always change that later or keep it if you'd like. Now I'm just gonna try to smooth out the edges. Take off the extra that I don't want. And put that down on the plate. And that's basically it for the Artex portion. Now I'm going to put clear powder, like settings powder. So it is Neutral Set by Ben Nye. It's a translucent setting powder. And what I like to do is I like to just take other products like lids and just use that to put other things on, especially powder. I like to take a bigger brush to do the powder part. Make sure it's nice and clean. Okay. And now the reason for this is because you don't want the shine from the Artex formula to keep appearing, and mixing it with some setting powder will give it a more realistic fleshy look, as if you were going to leave just the plain Artex without putting any powder. It would just come off as super shiny and just, like, in general, unrealistic. And you can really just brush it off, especially since it's translucent. It blends into the skin. And don't worry about the white parts. As you can see, I do have some white parts still on my arm from the powder, but we're gonna go in and we're gonna color it later, so it won't be as noticeable. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the paint. Just going to brush the powder off the package. I'm going to take a flat brush and just get some red paint. What I like to do is I like to dab it on the outsides, like so, and then use my finger, so that way I don't put too much formula on. And a lot can also be covered up by things like blood splatters and just blood in general, which is a really comforting thing to know, especially whenever makeup isn't going your way or you're unhappy with the results that you're getting. Blood can be a real lifesaver. I did the same techniques also on my face. I applied this powder to make it less shiny, and I applied redness around the wound on my face. You also don't want paint to be even, especially if you're going for an irritated look, because if it looks too precise, it won't look as real as if it was just like layered out and spread out more. That's why I'm going to take the paint up my arm in a few spots, but not all of the spots. I like to branch out the paint on the top and the bottom especially to make it really stand out. Okay, now going more into the wound, I'm going to take the same red paint. I'm just going to start applying it into the Artex. I like to make a little line outside of the gel because it just gives it that sliced already look, and then it goes into more of a fleshy area, which I think puts a nice touch on things. If you have a lot of deeper areas on the fleshy effect, I like to make it darker on those parts, just to give it depth. I'm gonna go into a brown shade to really exfoliate that. I'm also going to put it in some parts of the wound to make it look deeper. I'm gonna branch it out. I'm gonna go back in with the light red. These two colors really complement each other when it comes to looks like these. And now I'm going to be taking some red onto the gel itself. So as you can see at the bottom, the gel does stop, but I still continue the cut by just using basic paint strokes. And now I'm just going to put some more paint on the outside with some yellow just to make it look grosser. I'm also going to take a tiny bit of green to complement the yellow. I'm going to put some of the green onto the gel as well. Also a little bit over here. I'm just going to add a little bit more red and some purple to make that really stand out. I'm also going to put a little bit of the purple into the yellow and green mixture. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the Kryolan HD Blood, starting with the lighter shade. These are really good bloods because they look really realistic and just complement the look. So I'm just going to pour it in and spread it around. You can also use a brush for this. So I'm just going to take it and spread it around and do the same strokes like I was doing with the paint. I'm also going to put it up onto the gel just like I did with the paint. Gonna make those strokes really stand out. Also make it a little messy with some other ones. I'm gonna blend those out. And I'm going in with the same blood but in a darker shade. I'm gonna put it on places like the more fleshier parts and the deeper parts. And a little bit in the centers. Just going to mix that in. And extend it out. Gonna make it a little bit messy too. Now I'm going to take the Medley blood powder. I'm going to take a smaller brush and just tap it and get the excess off. And I'm going to put it on the corners of the wound. I might dash a little bit into it and a little bit on other areas. Okay. And this is one of the most favorite tricks I've ever learned. I'm going to take some water and just spray it and watch it come alive. Now this does get messy. And you're just going to let that drip. Since it is watery, it's going to run a little bit. You can pat it to make it more red. You can also do like little marks. And then after that, you're just going to take some setting spray so it lasts. You're just going to spray the makeup mainly, air it out a little bit. I like to wipe some of the red off so the level and difference is really able to see well, and the fleshy tones are able to see. Just gonna wipe some of it. So that's basically the demo for that. As you can see, it's really fleshy and super bloody, as a cut like this would be. It goes up my arm, down. I have it dripping. So basically, we started out with the Artex, and then we went to the powder, and we went to the paint and the blood, and we finished off with some setting spray. This is the same exact look that I did on my face prior. And yeah,